Call to order. Working session for July the 25th. And we make sure. So we'll go to item number 8 for our city council meeting on the 27th. We'll have a roll call invocation by Pastor Greg, pledge of allegiance by Mr. Johnson. Item number 1, acceptance of agenda. Item number 2, consent, and then we'll follow on with our new business. Then we go to item number 3, and we'll give a staff report. Mr. McLaughlin. What's up?
I was gonna. Can we?
City manager.
Go back and talk about city manager report.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. We'll back up, city manager. Sorry about that, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor McCaw, members of the council. Some of what I'll say would duplicate what I'll say for the executive report, with the exception of the dedication of the training track of Cochise College over by Fire Station 3, which will be occurring Monday the 31st at 5 p.m. So it will be warm out there, but
Yes.
But nonetheless, that's a great thing and a great partnership that we have with Cochise College, and we look forward to some other ones here in the future.
Excellent. And we also going after that to the ambulance
Yes.
simulator.
Yes.
Okay.
That's at 6, I believe. Yeah.
Yes, sir. All right. Excellent. Then we'll move forward. We'll go down to our new business with item number 3, staff report, Mr. McLaughlin.
Sure. Mr. Mayor, members of council, the public utility easements are a predicate to the next item on your agenda concerning the abandonments of the alleyways in the vicinity of Sierra and North Avenue. As part of the notification process, we learned that there are existing utility lines within the alleys which necessitate the need for a public utility easement being put in place. The easement areas coincide with the boundaries of the alleyways and essentially grant utility companies permission to install, maintain, operate their lines within the easement areas that will be recorded. And then move on to the alleyway abandonments.
Yes, sir.
So we're just continuing the process that was started last May when he gave us the go-ahead to proceed with the abandonment of the 2 segments connecting Sierra to North Avenue. The request has been routed to all parties. The public has been notified. A hearing was held last Tuesday before the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they voted unanimously to recommend approval of the application. The alleyways have never been improved or maintained by the city, at least in recent memory. Prior to the abandonments, prior abandonments have effectively cut off the potential for circulation beyond the 3 parcels that abut the alleyways. We have facilitated a separate reciprocal access easement agreement and how the properties will be maintained in the future for private access. That agreement will be fully executed prior to the meeting on Thursday. I have 2 of the 3 signatures, and I'm expecting the pastor to come in later this afternoon to sign the agreement. So
Excellent.
that's been squared away,
Okay.
and so we should be good.
Okay. Are there any questions by abandonment, Sierra? Questions? Excellent. Then we move forward with the public hearing for state law. Staff report, Jen?
Mayor, members of council, in accordance with state statute, today is the city's public hearing on the property tax. Actually, Thursday will be the city's public hearing on the property tax levy. Arizona Department of Revenue provides the fiscal year 24 primary property tax levy rate and total collection amount to the city. For FY24, the rate is proposed at 0.1056 per $100 of assessed value, which will generate an estimated $382,261 this fiscal year. The slight increase in revenue from the previous fiscal years is due to new construction. The rate was adjusted slightly lower in fiscal '24 due to an increase in valuation of taxable property, so the actual dollar amount paid by citizens in '24 remains the same as the dollar amount paid in fiscal year '23. For this proposed new rate, the city is not required to publish truth in taxation notices for the property tax levy. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Questions? Go right into the final budget fiscal year. Ma'am?
Following the public hearing, the resolution before council is for the adoption of the fiscal year 2023-24 operating budget for the city, the final amount being $175,145,445. There were two changes since the tentative budget vote. The first is the safety cone truck for streets did not arrive by the end of fiscal year as expected. The carryover amount was added to the HER fund. Also, we learned of a new grant opportunity through state parks for restrooms at Garden Canyon Linear Park. The revenue and expenditure for this was added to the grants fund. Since we know that we will not receive the RAISE grant in fiscal year '24, the HER fund was reduced by the amount of these two projects in order to keep the total budget equal to the cap set by the tentative budget vote. The tentative budget and all updated state budget forms have been posted on the city's website, and to date, we have not received any public comments. Council will meet on August 10th, 2023 at 5 p.m. to vote on the primary property tax levy for fiscal 2023-2024, which will conclude the budgeting process.
All right. Excellent. Any questions, comments? All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And proceed to the rezoning of tax parcel 10662-056. Mr. Prater.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. This is a request for rezoning on property located here in Sierra Vista. The current zoning on the property is neighborhood convenience, which allows for kind of light commercial uses. And the proposed rezoning district will be manufactured home residence, which is a residential zoning district and allows for the siting of manufactured homes. The site is 0.36 acres and is located on the southeast corner of Cayetan Drive and Elledge. And you can see on the map there the location of the property. It's just south of AAA Fort Storage, and Walnut Grove Mobile Home Park is directly to the west. So a little bit of background on this particular property. The property was part of the original city limits and was previously zoned mobile home residence until 1983, when the property owner requested a rezoning to C1, which was an equivalent to neighborhood business. Now, at that time, the owner intended to operate a treatment facility for drug and alcohol abuse, and so no permits were ever issued, and the site has remained vacant ever since. Now, in 1986, the city assigned an equivalent zoning designation of neighborhood convenience, which remains on the site today. And the reason why it was redesignated is because the development code was adopted at that point, and that's when a lot of the existing zoning districts were reclassified, redesignated. So this is a picture of the video looking of the area looking east. You see Cayetan to the north, Elledge to the south, and this is looking south on Elledge. So it is a small local street that we're talking about here. In terms of the future land use, Vista 2030 designates the property as high-density residential, which is consistent with permits manufactured home residential zoning districts. So it's consistent with the land use designation. And the existing zoning map, as you can see, has manufactured home residence directly to the south and to the west. And as I mentioned, there's a manufactured home park directly to the west of the property. So it would be consistent with the existing zoning in the area. So in terms of staff evaluation, the request is more consistent with the city's future land use element and compatible with the surrounding zoning pattern, as I just stated. The traffic impact resulting from one dwelling unit being added to the property will be de minimis. There is an 8-inch sewer line adjacent to the property that is adequate for the proposed use. And the downzoning of the property from a more intensive commercial use to manufactured home residential will reduce potential impacts to surrounding residential uses. Now, as required by development code, the applicant is required to have a neighborhood meeting. This was held on July 7th, 2023. There was no input received at that meeting. The applicant did receive a message in support of the request from the owner of AAA Force Storage, however, in a separate text. Planning and Zoning Commission, it was heard by the commission on July 18th and voted unanimously to recommend approval to the mayor and city council. And staff has not had any public comments regarding the rezoning as well. So this concludes staff's report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Questions, comments? Sir?
Get on them. They did their little neighborhood meeting. It sounds like they had drinks and everything lined up and chairs and snacks. Nobody showed up.
Chips and salsa.
They missed
and the
out
whole
on the.
works.
They
Yeah,
missed
I
on the
know.
chips and salsa. I would have gone. So, but get on them for doing their due diligence. And it sounds like AAA Force Storage doesn't have a problem with it at all. They're right there, nearest neighbor. So get on them.
We're here on Thursday. Yeah.
Maybe they'll bring some chips and salsa.
Thank you. All right, appreciate it, sir.
Got it.
Go back to item number B, council executive report. Sir?
Thank you, Mayor McCaw, members of the council. By way of introduction, on the first page, I see the city manager's message, and we're highlighting really the changes that are occurring in the police department. Obviously, there's been some retirements and a number of promotions have occurred as the result of that, beginning with, of course, Chief Heiser here and now Deputy Chief Boutte. There will be a ceremony we're planning for either Friday the 18th or the 25th. Any update on that?
That's correct. We're leaning toward the 18th. I'll have that confirmed this week.
So it'll be a rather large pinning of the badges ceremony, enough for the number of promotions we have. So I think it'll be a very nice event, and of course, council is invited to attend that. So we're looking forward to that as well. In the fire department, we just retired Captain Dave Wilcox after 33 years of service. Known Dave a long time. His wife taught my math to my kids, so they've been in the community, obviously, a long time. And of course, that's precipitated a couple of promotions in the fire department as well. So we'll get that out to you as well if we haven't already. So that's going on. One thing I do want to mention that's in the report, and Sharon and Victoria will probably have more information than I do, regards the Garden Avenue project. We had applied for a raise grant for that project and more of Fry Boulevard to be done, and we were initially notified that we did not receive that grant, which wasn't really that surprising. On top of that, the engineer's estimates came in rather high, and we're still looking at probably over $4 million for that project, and we currently have $2.9 million set aside for it. So we're looking to find ways to make sure we can get that project done. While we were sitting in a meeting Friday about this very subject, we received an email message saying that our project was a project of merit, even though we did not receive the award, which means that we're in line for an excellent chance to get the grant in the next go-around next year. So that would be a really good thing, obviously, because then we wouldn't have to use the $2.9 million we have set aside and be able to use the raise grant. So the downside to it, of course, is we would have to wait until next fiscal year to do the Garden Avenue project, but I think that's a risk worth waiting on and taking to see if we can save that $2.9 million. So I just want to make you aware of that. There's a lot of other grant projects Sharon's put in there, and if you have any questions about that, she'll be able to answer them. But go ahead, Carol.
So this is different than when they gave us feedback before. This is,
Yeah, we still get feedback, but it means we're really in line. We have a really good shot
Yeah, okay.
this year.
because I don't want to get my hopes up.
Well, this is
Right.
more hopeful than
Right.
this is more hopeful than the last time. Let's put it that way. So,
Well, and alternatively, if we don't, we can proceed and apply for the raise grant. Whether we get it or not, we could also propose budgeting more money towards North Garden next year as well. So it would give us the opportunity to both wait and see if we are successful in the raise grant next time, and to budget more for the project, so it could proceed either way, with the hope, of course, that we would get the grant and save that money and
So the
put it towards another
2.9 million will be fenced off for
And
this
I
project.
think us being awarded the SMART grant, they expect us to try again. So I think that's a good idea. And that's good to hear that they gave us better feedback this time around, a little closer.
Yeah. So, and we're still waiting for almost $4 million that Representative Siscomani put in for us, which we will put towards Buffalo Soldier Trail. And I feel pretty good about that, considering he sits on the Appropriations Committee.
Yes, sir.
But you know, we don't know about it yet. So,
Yes, sir.
but that would be very helpful if we receive that one as well. And that. Those are the main highlights. Obviously, staff is here, and it's a pretty comprehensive report. There's a lot in it, so everybody's here to answer your questions.
Yes, sir.
If you have any.
Any questions, comments? Yes, ma'am. Yes. Oh, Mark.
Yes, so I was just wondering if there was any more updates on the sprinklers in the Veterans Park. I know the.
Mayor, Councilmember Mesmer, our favorite subject right now. Luckily, I do have some good news. The valve that we've been waiting for was received on site yesterday, and the team is coming down from Tucson to install that beginning on Friday, and they're working on Saturday, and I'm hoping to have a fully operational park on Monday. All things going well, that is the plan. And then the plan after that is growth and green grass.
Yes.
So
Pray for rain, too.
Yes.
we
And
are
if the
excited
irrigation
to
system
receive
holds
that.
up.
If the irrigation system holds up and can take like really efficient, powerful water going through them, we'll be good to go. But we do anticipate some issues with our aging system. This is kind of the price of progress, but every day we're getting a little bit closer, and it is exposing some things that we need to handle on the maintenance side of the house.
You want to just, it's a separate update, the Soldier Creek Park.
The warranty.
Because I know you just gave an update to me, but for all of council on what's going on with.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Humphrey. Soldier Creek Park got a little crispy as well. We had the folks come down from Schneider Electric and also the subcontractor and took a look inside that system. That actually ended up not necessarily being a warranty issue, but a separate valve issue on one of the zones. And the fix for that was to close off the main valve. So everybody kind of mobilized and came down to discover that it was an operator error situation. And they were able to open up the main valve, which exposed the zone valve issue. That was replaced. The system was tested. The new smart irrigation system is working, and we already have water. So we've been watering that since last Friday. So hoping for
So we'll
green
notice
grass
a
there as
change
well.
soon, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me jump in.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Oh, thank you. All right. As always, this is an awesome report. I encourage everybody to read through it. So many questions are answered here that we get asked a lot of times. It's right here in this report, which is a lot of time obviously gets put into this. So as I read through it, I see a lot of things that are awesome and things that we probably need to work on as well. Just shout out to the animal control, like watching that Full House video of the dogs. Some of those animals have been there 456 days, 380 days. Like they've been holding on to these dogs. So good on them for keeping them around and doing what they can for animals like that. They really need a home. That's awesome. I didn't realize some of them have been there that long. But they're getting well loved while they're there. Just looking at our social media, things like that, some of these numbers out there, like we have 24 people completed the Vista 2040 survey. That's not a very good number. So what can we do to help do that? Like as we do our council meet and greets, I was thinking a lot of these numbers I'm seeing are whopping, 24 people that watch us on YouTube, things like that, right? Can we pass out some literature, simple things like QR codes. This will take you link to all these things. Go out here and do it as we're out in the public talking to people, and we have a short little small handout flyer as we do our meet and greets, as we do our social things, as we go to ribbon cuttings, as we go to business at twilights, as we interact with everybody, have them spread the word as well. Something simple like that is here's a few QR codes that take you to these things that we really need you to look at. Right? Can we make that possible? That way, I think we can at least do our part, and if anything, to get it out there. Marketing is a very small organization, and tourism is one person on the commission right now. But so if we would do that, I would be willing to do that anywhere I go to get that out to the people and push it, because some of these numbers like that, I'm like, wow, 24 people in our whole community have filled that survey out.
And Markham, you put a lot of effort into it so far. 6 videos or something?
Yeah.
I don't remember what it
I can
was.
address that. So, Mayor McCaw, Councilman Rodriguez. So that was before we really did some concerted promotion of that. I honestly kind of test Vistas a little bit to see what that does on its own. So that was basically the push with putting it on the front page of Vistas. So to date, we actually have 55 because we just started like our social media push,
Good.
and then we're actually going to do other paid advertising now that the new fiscal year has started.
Okay.
So just on that particular issue, but yeah.
Because we were actually just talking about Matt McLaughlin and I when we saw the numbers being low. That your idea, I think, could we get something that we could, when we're at least at the meet and greets, that we could provide to promote more input?
Yes, absolutely. We can definitely do that. And if there's any particular issue you're interested in, you can always theme a meet and greet or give us a heads up, and we can prepare information for you to distribute on a particular topic.
Cool. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you, Adam.
Not trying to give you more work, but we're going to give you more work.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. Thank you for the update on the parks. I had those highlighted as well. I was going to ask you about that, so thank you. Talked about the grants. Thank you, Chuck, for covering that. I had a question on the compost fire. What's our latest strategy, or what are we looking at to mitigate that, when it comes to like being a little bit more fire-wise in that area? Obviously, you can't predict when somebody's going to spontaneously combust, but just what is our strategy now that we can help keep this from happening again? Is it making the pile smaller? Is it putting some fire breaks between them? Like, what are we doing?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Rodriguez, very timely question. We actually just set up a meeting for next Wednesday with the fire department to discuss
Awesome.
that very subject. So we'll be, diving into that, because certainly we don't want to get into the same situation again. Although if you haven't been out there, it looks nice.
All right, on. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to all the feedback and the plan from that meeting. The reaction to that situation was amazing all around, so I appreciate that. And I always want to mention all the people that responded that got boots melted, pieces of vehicles melted off. Like, all that stuff is not budgeted for in your little clothing allowance. So I talked to Victoria and Chuck about that before. Like, if there's something like that happens again, we got to be somewhere we can just compensate people. We expect our first responders to go to things like that and just go, right? They're not wildland guys and girls. But when things like that happen and your vehicles aren't suited for that, but we want you to put the fire out because you got to protect our city. I just want to make sure there's something we can look at to maybe compensate them or do some kind of voucher to take that into consideration. It's not going to happen every year, hopefully, but when it does happen, it's like, that's a big thing. That's a big hit. If I have to pay for like $400 boots, that's tough, if I'm,
Understand?
if I'm a first responder. Right on. Thank you. Airport's good.
While you're looking, Chief Jones, just give it up for the first responders that went out, talked to Phil at the tone out. He said he was out there 12 hours and have to, he took me through a whole litany. There's not a water source out there, so we had to pack it up, pack the hoses up, take it out, take the truck back to a water source, fill back up the tank, then back out there. So your guys did an amazing job.
Yeah, Mayor McCaw, members of the council, we were very fortunate. We also had one of the fried tenders come, 2,000 or 3,000 gallon tank that came and filled up and went back and forth as well. And they were also out there for about 12 hours as well. So our guys and gals did a wonderful job out there. Thank you.
Back to you, Mark.
Appreciate it. The last thing is just the projects, right, that are in our city, in our area. The plans under review, approved, under construction. I love this list because, like I said, it answers a lot of questions we get as council members. If we can just get a quick update, what your latest and greatest is, because there's a lot of movement out there, right? We see Taco Bell was up and it's open, right? Bam, we went from dirt to what it is now. We have the smoothie place coming, but then we have things that have been approved for a while, like Freddy's and Popeyes, and I know it's on them, it's in their court. Any feedback at all, anything that we can provide from them that says, here's our holdup, here's why we're not doing anything on that dirt yet? Anyone can provide that?
Yeah, because we can't go out without people now asking.
Right.
Get your
And
hair done.
do you want it? I mean,
I don't have any, the latest updates again, and Mr. Mayor and Councilmember Rodriguez, yes. The reality is, as you've seen, some business owners have moved very quickly. Plans were approved and gone. We've connected Freddy's to the local contractors. That was the last update I had. I don't know.
Makes things, yeah, in terms of go, no go on that project. So we need to get confirmation. We just changed building codes. That's going to be our avenue for making contact with them and alerting them, you know, that if you don't proceed within, you know, a reasonable period of time, then, you know, we're going to have to consider you reapplying for a building permit. So we're going to circle back, check in with them. Same with Popeyes. They're way overdue in terms of picking up their permit. And the last we heard was they were working on other stores in the state. We were in line, but that was a long time ago. I sympathize with the public in terms of wanting updates, but we're just not getting them.
Yes, sir.
Right on. I appreciate that, gentlemen. I know it's first world problems, but we get asked the question a lot. The Dollar General, the commercial new, that is, it says 1074-9001 Quebec Q. That's the address for the corner out there on Julio Cesar and by the hospital. Just their project address is weird. That's the new one, right? That's that dirt.
It probably doesn't have an address assigned, so.
Okay.
Put in
It's
just.
on page 33 if you have, I don't know if you have it.
Okay, just a
It says
placeholder.
Dollar
address.
General, commercial new, and the address is.
Yeah.
That is the one out there, right?
Yeah, we'll assign an address with the building
Okay.
permit.
And then the Circle K, and we call the Cloud 9 Circle K.
Yeah.
They're going to improve that whole corner.
They're gonna redevelop that.
Redevelop
corner
it, right,
With
so
a
I'm
new
assuming-
store similar to Golden Acres.
Okay, so they're gonna close it, obviously, and then come back new.
Yes,
Okay.
they're not gonna leave an old store.
Right, okay. And then, so Michael's is moving into what is Bell's currently. Bell's is closing,
Right,
and Michael's is coming into that. That's what this tenant improvement is, correct?
yes.
Okay, all right. That is it. Thank you, appreciate the update.
I
So,
also checked on the former Z-Bar. They're still working on the demo, and they should be coming through with the tenant improvement
right on.
plans.
I see the Till Mama sign is up, so that's good too.
Those come on.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Yes, yes, ma'am.
When is the compost open now?
Mr. Mayor, Councilwoman Mesmer, yes, compost reopened on the 17th, so last Monday. So we are back to our regular business hours, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to everybody who made this executive report. It's a very comprehensive report, has all kinds of really great information in it. I just wanted to just bring attention to a couple of points in here. One of them was the museum attendance up over 600%. The Jurassic Wonders was a huge hit with lots and lots of new visitors and then people that would come back. And so that's really exciting and really great to see. The kids loved it. And if people are new visitors are coming, then for future exhibits, I'm sure that they'll be coming back. So that was really exciting to see how that's progressed. And then I also really loved the employee highlight in here for one of our
At the Cove.
Matthew.
Yes, that was really great to see. I love when we're able to highlight, it's one of the people that makes Sierra Vista a great place. So I really appreciated that, and so much more in here too. But just wanted to touch on those two things. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there questions, comments? Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I never found out what the results. I know you guys had a meeting, Lara's department, on what to do about. I think we had to cancel every Eats Beats. What
Arts,
are the
Beats, and Eats.
Thank you. Yeah, that. And I don't know if it was like the heat wave that kept. What did you guys decide moving forward to if we, attempt to do it again or next year?
Mayor Pro Tem Humphrey, Tony Section and I have been talking about this like for a couple of years now, and it was important that my department like step up and attempt to do something on a regular basis, really to see if there was an appetite for an event space down there that the public wanted to actually drive without having all the things that come with like a big event, like when we do a West Fest, where we have staff-led activities, things like that. We can definitely bring a crowd when we want to throw a party, and actually do it up like that. Something like this that would be more of an organic type of a thing, where we're setting up a situation to where people can just, for very little money, come and set up, sell their wares, offer some music options and some eating options throughout that area. It just has not taken off. There seems to be no appetite from the vendor community to participate in this. I don't really know why.
Did we have that hesitate? I mean, you put one. How many did we do last year? Did we 4? And I felt like we didn't have those same issues. I was just wondering if it was something different this
Well,
year.
we did have some. We had some people. A food truck purchased all 4 and then just showed up to one and had better offers in other places. Didn't ask for their money back that they paid, and just went to other things that they thought that they could get more sales in. So I really can't tell you why. I can speculate a little bit on why I think it is. I think that some of our food truck establishments and vendors are looking for high traffic areas in order to participate in, and we have some other really great things happening around our community that are organically grown. The events that you see Doc's Watering Hole doing, that seems to be a very organic, community-led kind of a thing. I think Gunny's is working on some things out at his place as well. It would be wonderful to see something like that take root in our West End from an organic place. We could do some things like create an event permit for those types of activities in that space, to where the community could really just lead the whole thing. And I think that's what our attempts are trying to get the community to move in that direction. I can say that Pam at Landmark has been extremely awesome at every single thing. We're just not getting a foothold in that area with the businesses, and I think that Tony and I need to maybe have some more conversations about other attempts on how to do that. But the programming is failing. It failed. We were getting no interest on weeks, none, no calls, nothing.
I have a question. Do you think the situation would resolve itself once we start getting that Fab Avenue parcel up to speed and make it welcoming? I mean, right now it's just a dirt lot, and there's not a whole lot to do there. So I think maybe, just maybe, once that parcel starts to get developed, that might, do you think it would help?
I think it would be a much more attractive option than what we currently have. Maybe this is a type of event that we're doing a little early on in the improvements. We still have a lot of vacant storefronts in that area. There's really not a lot of businesses open during the evening time in that area. So I think that as we start seeing some success in those efforts, trying again, continually trying things, I'm completely up for that. We tried something and it didn't work, and I'm okay with that. I think we learned something from it, but it doesn't mean we give up on the efforts. We just kind of go back to the drawing board and keep trying.
I wonder if we did something different last year that we didn't do this year, because they were well attended, all 4, or the 3 that I went to. So I didn't know about that food truck thing though, like him, but it seemed like it was still a good turnout, and people look forward to it. And there's always these disappointing comments every time we canceled it this year. So I know there's an appetite. I know people want it. I'm wondering if we need to approach it differently. But I'm thankful for your team for doing what you could to get it going this year.
Mayor Pro Tem Humphrey, you know, I do feel bad that it didn't work, but I'm also excited because it's telling us something, and it's not, I don't necessarily think the public doesn't have an appetite for it. It's got to be all those things. It's got to be the vendor community making that a priority as well and showing up for that, because, you know, sometimes people will say they want something and then it's offered, and then maybe they're doing something else, or that didn't, maybe it's the wrong day of the week. It could be all kinds of things. So we can just try a bunch of different things and continue to try, but if we don't have anybody signing up to sell anything, it's not going to bring people out.
Okay, thank you.
Other comments? Yes, sir.
I think I forgot to mention the code enforcement stuff is great. We get obviously a lot of comments and calls about that when it comes to anything from barking dogs to fences to things like that. But obviously of note, shopping carts. You know, it's not just in Sierra Vista. This is a U.S.-wide thing. And you go to any shopping, any grocery store, a lot of them are running out of shopping carts. People are taking them, right? So it's on the business owner to come up with ways to keep that down. And I've even seen other cities where people are kind of capitalizing on it and starting a shopping cart recovery, if you will, company. They have big trucks. They go out, they collect them, and they kind of sell them back to the people that own them for a small fee. So it's like entrepreneurship out there going on. I've seen in the U.S. I mean, of course, you could just give them back if you want, but you did spend your gas and your time to get them. So I understand why they're charging to get them back. But that's part of what our code enforcement does. They take those calls for things like that, for, you know, overgrowth, which right now it rained once, I think, and we got some weeds that grew pretty fast, but we haven't had a lot of rain. But we have 35 overgrowth situations there. They're handling sidewalk obstructions, things like that. And along with that is the First Street, right, North First Street. A lot of work has been done there when it comes to things getting auctioned, demolished. A lot of police work as well in that area. So hats off to the PD that operates in conjunction with code enforcement in that one block area. A lot of changes going on First Street. So, but they've been very busy with that. Our two-person code enforcement team, if you look at this thing, it's full of a whole bunch of things. They can only be certain places at one time. So I appreciate everything they're doing and keeping us informed of all the cases that are here. My one question, I know they're not here, but I'm assuming the illegal dumping, that's only city property, right? It doesn't account for all the state land illegal dumping.
Go ahead, Matt.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Rodriguez, yeah, because we don't have jurisdictional authority over state land, we don't go through the code enforcement process. We're using the Better Work volunteers to clean those sites up.
Okay.
So, yeah, that would be on private property where we've initiated a case.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Well, to tag on to what Mr. Rodriguez just said, the Sierra Vista Police Department volunteers go out on a regular basis to retrieve these shopping carts that are left, you know, hither and yon, and returning them to their owners. So hats off to the SVPD
definitely.
volunteers for doing that. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. More comments? All right. Go to item number C, reports on recent trips, meetings, and future meetings.
Well, we have our neighborhood, I almost called it the West End, the neighborhood commission, our first neighborhood commission meeting on, Matt, is it Monday at 4:30?
31st, yes.
The 31st. It'll be in the city manager's conference room.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So, last Wednesday, the Arts and Humanity Culture Diversity Commission elected their chair. Radford Hyde is the chair, and vice chair is Carolyn Cruz. So now that commission is ready to move forward.
Okay. Ma'am?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's a couple things we're tracking for future presentations. A code enforcement presentation's coming up in August. The special event policy is currently under review, so you'll be seeing that soon. And then we've reached out to the Sierra Vista Veterans Memorial Foundation folks to come in and do a presentation at council request on their progress and where they're at with
Excellent.
fundraising for that memorial.
Good. Excellent. Any other questions, comments? Thank you for your time, and we are adjourned.
Yeah, just send me that.